Well, after a very unsuccessful intervention with my friends who I feel like share the same issues I have, the compulsive buying disorder and hoarding when it comes to cars, I've decided the best way for me to help them and help everybody who follows me is to lead by example and sell off several of my cars. Maybe 6, 7, or more. It's hoop-de-geddon. Now, a lot of these cars I haven't driven for a long time. I leave them put away in storage and they just sit and sit. But there's a few that I've bought recently that I am getting rid of, and one of which I'm really excited to get rid of. Now, y'all probably don't have to guess too hard on which car I really wanted to get rid of, and that was obviously my 2007 BMW M5. I bought that car for only $6,500, but then quickly doubled my investment in that car fixing it up. It had a bad SMG transmission, among other things, and it still needed a lot more work. The engine could have grenaded at any moment thanks to the consumable rod bearings and the Vanos pump, the top-end variable valve timing pump that controls the lift. Both of those could fail and completely destroy the motor. It's nuts, and I made a video talking about how stupid that was and how stupid I thought the car was. But despite this really negative video, I had over a dozen people email me wanting to buy the car. And the first person to send the money was a guy named Mike from Texas, and he came up and bought the BMW M5 from me. I was shocked. I made a video documenting it just in case you all didn't believe me. Check it out. Okay, Mike is here, and Mike is here to buy my BMW M5, which is amazing considering the videos I made on this thing poo-pooing it. I won $11,000 for it, but what Mike doesn't know is I'll take anything. If he's got an Xbox, a Nintendo, I would take that to get this thing out of here. So let's go talk to Mike. Hopefully he still wants it. Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Nice car, huh?
Yeah, seems to check out.
Yeah, super reliable. The Wizard went through everything. I think he'll warranty the car for 10 years or 100,000 miles. But the Wizard, you'll have to check with him, though.
Okay. Has it ever leaked any oil, or?
Well, I bought it from a little old lady who only drove to church on Sundays. It is a clean 18 owner car with 12 accidents, and but ignore all that. It's shiny, it's red, it's fast, and clearly after the test drive, you want it. So $11,000, that's my price.
About 10 and a half.
10 and a half? I mean, I have a lot of interest in this car. There's a line of people lined up behind you, as you can see. There's nobody there. So how about 10,500?
Can't possibly
put out your hand. Yeah, you brought yourself a cracking motor, and it's gone. It's gone.
It's sold. Oh. All right.
So some more information on Mike. He actually drove up with a friend of his who's actually a BMW technician. He's very familiar with the M5s. They went through it with a fine-tooth comb, found nothing really seriously wrong with it other than what I told them. And his buddy is actually going to do all this work for him, do those preventative engine repairs so the car doesn't grenade. And strangely, Mike, the new owner, is trading the BMW tech friend his E39 M5, the really desirable BMWs from the early 2000s, those M5s with a manual transmission, for this E60 M5, what's considered the most unreliable BMW ever made. I'm just as stumped as you all probably are right now, but money's money. I sold the car for $10,500, which means I lost only $3,000 on that M5. That's not bad given my history, and I'm actually really happy with that price, and I'm happy to get rid of it. The next car I'm getting rid of, though, is a really hard one. It's another high-performance luxury sedan, and we're actually sitting in it right now. This is super sad. Yeah, the next car to go is my Mercedes, my 1995 Mercedes C36 AMG. And unlike the M5, this thing has been a rock-solid, really reliable car. I forgot to mention on the M5, it actually broke again after we did all those fixes. It actually, well, it wasn't broken. It was still broken because the thermostat was bad. And normally a bad thermostat, when it's not getting the engine up to enough temperature, it may throw a check engine light, it might not do anything at all. But in the case of the M5, it actually turned on the check engine light and put the car in limp home mode, all because it wasn't coming up to temperature fast enough. I don't understand. It was another $600. But anyway, back to this C36. This one hurts a lot, but I really don't drive it anymore. This car just sits and sits and sits, and the only time that it really left me stranded, kind of, was because the battery went bad from sitting so much, and I can't really blame the car for that. And there's just so many memories I have with this car. I bought it in San Francisco and drove it down to Monterey Car Week, stayed in that little shack, and then drove down to Los Angeles and did a one-take with Matt Farah in this car. He was the first big car celebrity that I'd ever interacted with, and it was an amazing experience. I've enjoyed this car so much, but I don't drive it. It just sits and sits, and there's no reason for me to keep something that I'm not using. Now, a lot of you have emailed me wanting to buy this car, and sometimes I give a price, sometimes I don't even respond, but really, I haven't wanted to sell it. And the only reason I'm selling it now is because a good friend of mine named Colin emailed me wanting to buy this car. And Colin and I go way back, over 10 years. He actually bought the first car that I ever flipped. I actually made money on that car for once. It was a 1980 Mercedes 300 TD, a station wagon that I pulled out of a barn in Leon, Kansas, and then sold to a high school kid in Florida who converted it to veggie oil and then ruined it. But he promises me that he won't ruin this car. I'm probably going to cry when it goes. But another reason that I'm selling it is actually because I bought another blocky Mercedes sedan, and this one historically is much more significant and probably worth keeping in the long term. Even if I don't drive it, it'd be a better investment. But I'll show you that car soon. Oh man. Another friend of mine bought a car that I thought I would never sell, and you all are going to get mad when I announce the sale of this one. It's my 1996 Buick Park Avenue Ultra. I know, I can't believe I sold it, but that car had sat for months and months and never had been started. But it was hard for me to let go of because it's so hard to find. I've been looking for one for years. It's 1 year only, 1996, where you had the old, better looking body style before they got all blobby, but you got the Series 2 supercharged V6, the same engine that went into the GTP and the Monte Carlo SS. And it really had some good torque and power, even though it was only front-wheel drive, but still, it was a hoot. I sold it to a friend of mine who is a Buick enthusiast, and that's mostly because I bought another land yacht, a 1976 Cadillac Eldorado, and it seems stupid to have two land yachts, but now I've bought another land yacht, one I've been chasing after for years. I can't believe I got one. Video on that soon, I suppose. So the 76 Eldorado, even though I just bought it and it is really cool, I'll probably be selling that one soon as I fix it as well. Now, if you all saw my Hummer H2 videos, the cheapest Hummer H2 in the USA that I recently purchased, you'll know that I sold my 1999 Lexus LX470, my Land Cruiser, to pay for it. It actually sold for $6,200, which is exactly what I paid for the Hummer H2. Now, that may seem like a totally moronic, stupid trade, but I'd kind of done everything that I wanted to do with the Lexus Land Cruiser, done all the mods that I wanted and taken it to do several things, proved that it was the best SUV in the world, and I mean, content-wise, that was it. There was nothing more that I could really do. With the Hummer H2, it's gotten a lot of attention for me, mostly bad attention, but bad attention results in just as many clicks on my videos, so mission accomplished. Now, y'all might remember my last video with the Lexus where I actually backed it up the staircase of my new house here, and now the staircase is gone. We're doing a lot of different things over here that I'll tell you about, as well as give you a garage update, so let's take a look. So I haven't moved into my new house yet because I don't have any way to get into my new house to move in furniture. The main staircase here, as you can see, is all torn up. So is the one in the backyard. And in the garage, there's all this construction and dust going on that moving in would be really difficult. So we're gonna wait until at least this is finished. Now, if you see in the clip before with my Lexus Land Cruiser, this house originally had a staircase on it that was really dangerous, and it was kind of an afterthought. I was told that when the house was built, the original owners didn't realize the elevations were going to be so different. And that's why the entryway is up so high. They kind of looked at it when the house was built and went, oh crap, what are we going to do? And just improvised a really narrow and dangerous concrete staircase that just looked awful. And it really was a shame because the house itself is beautiful. I love the architecture of it. So these cinder blocks may look awful right now, but we're not even close to finished yet. It's going to make the house look more normal and less dangerous to access. All these cinder blocks will be covered with brick that matches the exterior of the house, and there's going to be steps and a series of landings. I think 2 landings. I'll show a topographical map of what I'm doing. But basically there's going to be flower beds up high on either side, and then another series of flower beds about probably waist high here, and that'll make the landscaping a little more gradual as this house goes down. It won't look like it's up on stilts, like it's in some hurricane zone and needs to be up high. At least I hope it's going to look good. It looks good in my head. Right now I'm freaking out. Next, let's go in the garage. There's been quite a bit of progress in there as well. Look at this. It's looking a lot more finished out now. I am super excited. The drywall's finished, the mud's on. My new garage door is in. There's a lot of progress, but the progress is going to stop for a while because we have to wait on the outside. The front staircase and the back staircase and patio area needs to be finished before they can keep going. They're gonna pour another driveway that goes around to this back garage and then along the side of this wall, and once that's finished they can start cleaning and working in here. We're going to epoxy the garage floors and paint it, obviously, clean things up, and hang these 2 heaters. I have gas lines up in the ceiling and I'll have a nice heated garage. I'm also going to rob the fan from the back patio. It's a giant, it's actually called a big fan. I muted myself, which is overkill for the patio, and I'm not much of a patio guy anyway. We'll put a normal fan in there and instead hang it on the ceiling here so I get a little more air circulation. With all these garages up and a swamp cooler, it should be relatively comfortable in here during the summer. And with that extra driveway down the side, that'll fit 2 more cars that I don't care sit outside. I'm sitting pretty good. I'm gonna more or less have a place for all of my cars. That is, if I still unload some more. And we'll talk about that where there isn't as much of an echo. I'm gonna have to put up some sound editing or something. Another car that has recently left the fleet is my McLaren. No, not that McLaren. Actually, it was my fake McLaren, the 1990 Pontiac Grand Prix ASC McLaren. I don't know if you all remember that car, but it was hilarious. It had a turbo engine that was tuned by ASC McLaren, not a real McLaren, it was a Pontiac, but it had a really rad interior with super cool digital gauges, a heads-up display, and hilarious seats. They looked like buttocks. I love the car, but it wasn't all that fun to drive. I could have kept it just kind of as a novelty. It wasn't very much. It was like $2,000, and I spent another $1,000 or so on it. But someone emailed me from California wanting to buy it, and he was willing to pay close to what I had into it, so it was an easy move for me to just say, oh, okay, take it. I'm not missing the car all that much, because all I really wanted to do with it was open the door, look at the seats, point, and laugh. Finally, the last hoopty of mine to sell recently was my Jurassic Park Jeep, which, sad face, I hadn't really driven that car much since buying it on my reality show. It was a really fun episode to film on my reality show, which I'll have details on what's going on with that soon. But I don't have to mourn the loss of it too much because I'm selling it to a family member and he needs me to store it for him until his hangar that he's building is completed. And even when the hangar's completed, I'll see it all the time because it's going to be more of a display piece and he's going to want me to probably drive it for him and keep it going. So it's not going far and I'll still have it around. You all should be proud of me because 7 cars are going or have gone, and probably more will be going soon. We can kind of forget the fact that I've already bought 4 cars to replace it, but I mean, technically if you count, that's a net negative in total hoopty fleet size. I've bought 4 cars in the last 2 weeks, so at that rate, we might be over. Maybe I'm not doing better. I'm trying though, I'm trying, and thank you for watching.